Alright guys, so today is the day I finally get to do the video on the brand new SoundPEATS Opera 03 and the SoundPEATS Opera 05. Now the reason I had to wait on doing a video on these is its Kickstarter campaign did not actually start until today. And yes, I did say Kickstarter campaign, so it's not something that you can just go out and buy right now. The campaign started today and it goes on until February the 11th. And then it says that they're going to start shipping in March. So, you know, it kind of sucks that you have to wait. I do understand the frustration there, but it basically goes back to the saying that good things come to those who wait. Now the price on both of these is the SoundPEATS Opera 03 is going to retail at $79. But because it's a Kickstarter campaign, there is a super early bird price for only $49. And the same thing with the 05, they're going to retail at $99, but its early bird price comes in at $69. Now there's not as many 05s available as there is the 03s, so I will have a link in the description if you do want to go check these out and back them on Kickstarter. Now to explain why SoundPEATS may have gone the Kickstarter route, they have to be careful when they release a new product that's out of their norm. They're used to releasing budget style earbuds. They know that their customers are going to buy those, but when you start to jump up in price and go towards a more premium product, you have to kind of approach that in a more careful way. You don't know if your demographic is going to go and buy those, but I can easily say after having these for over a month and testing these and putting them through all different genres and things like that, I don't think they're going to have a problem selling these at all. In fact, I recommend if you are interested, just check them out now so that you can get them at that early bird price. But we're gonna go ahead and talk about both of these. We're gonna see what the differences are. We're gonna talk about what all comes inside the box, the sound, and see why I think these are an absolute steal, especially given their early bird price that you can get them at. Now, as far as differences and similarities, they are exactly the same in pretty much every aspect except the fact that they are slightly different colors. The 03 comes in at a coffee/gold color, where the 05 comes in at a champagne/gold color. But the huge difference comes in the drivers that they're using. Now the 03 and the 05 are both using the same 12mm dynamic driver, but the 03 is just using a single balanced armature driver, where the 05 is coming in with dual balanced armature drivers. So we'll talk about why that makes a difference once we get into the sound. But as far as everything else, everything is exactly the same. So they both have Bluetooth 5.3. They're both high-res audio certified because they have LDAC playback. They both have noise canceling. They both work with SoundPEATS app, although that is absolutely nothing to get excited about. SoundPEATS app is kind of a bare bones app, but it does allow you to keep your earbuds updated. It also allows you to go in and use their pre-built EQ options. You can go in and customize the EQ settings the way that you want. You can turn the single tap function on and off. So, you know, if you're somebody that adjusts your earbuds often and you find that you're accidentally touching your earbuds, this may be a feature that you want to turn off. And then really the only other thing that you can do within the app is turn your noise canceling on or your transparency mode, or just turn them both off altogether. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, and I don't know if this is because I have an early version of the earbuds, I did notice that when I put the earbuds in for the first time, I could hear this like distant like white noise. I mean, you could hear a noise that you don't normally hear by putting earbuds in. And what I found out was it came with transparency mode on out of the box. So once I turned that off or went into noise canceling, that noise just went away. So do keep that in mind. If you just put them in for the first time and you hear a sound, it's probably because it's in transparency mode. But we'll go ahead and start with talking about the noise canceling and the transparency. When you get in that under $100 earbud range, noise canceling can definitely be hit or miss. Usually it's just something they want to slap on the box and you can't tell much of a difference. Luckily here, the noise canceling is very good. I mean, it does an excellent job of blocking out like AC units and engine noises, anything that kind of has a lower tone. And it also even blocks out a decent amount of people talking. Now, this is where most earbuds kind of miss out on. Now, this isn't noise canceling like the Sony or Bose. I am by no means trying to compare them to that. But I do think it does a very good job of isolating you from everything and being able to hear your music clearly. Now the transparency mode, again, like I said earlier, it does kind of have a slight noise to it, and that's because the mics on these are pretty sensitive. But what that means is you have no issue with being able to hear your surroundings, and you can carry on a conversation without ever having to take these earbuds out. But again, it does have that slight noise, so I wouldn't just listen to these in transparency mode all the time. But it is a nice feature to have if you're going to be using these outdoors. That way you're more aware. But speaking of using these outdoors, they do come in with an IPX4 rating, which means they're not waterproof. IPX4 is really the norm when it comes to earbuds that have noise canceling, because anything higher than that, it starts to affect the microphones because of the coating they have to use. But you'll be able to use these at the gym and not have to worry if you sweat heavily. If they get splashed on, they're going to be fine. If you're outdoors and it starts to rain, you don't have to worry. But just make sure you do not drop these or submerge these into water. Now, as far as what all they've included in the box, you do get 3 sets of silicone ear tips. It does come with a very small USB-C cable, which sadly you are going to have to use this. There's no Qi wireless charging on these. And I kind of get it. I mean, if they're going to focus a lot on being able to deliver the sound and give you the drivers that they're giving, I'm okay with them having to cut some corners on features so that they can still keep the price down under $100. So do keep that in mind. You can't just drop these on a wireless charger. But speaking of the charging, battery life is very impressive depending on how you use it. There's many different levels of battery life because there's many different ways you can use the earbud. Now, if you just use them with the noise canceling off and you're not using them in LDAC mode, you can get 9 hours of battery life on the earbuds and about 33 hours using the case. But if you're going to use these with the noise canceling on, it's going to cut it down to 7 hours on the earbuds and about 28 hours using the case. And then the other way to use it is with the LDAC mode on. Now, if you use it in LDAC with the noise canceling off, it's going to bring it down to 6 hours on the earbuds and about 21 hours using the case. And then if you switch noise canceling on while you're listening in LDAC mode, it's going to bring it down to 5 hours on the earbuds and about 17 hours using the case. So you can see that there is a huge difference depending on how you use these. Now, moving over to looking at both the cases and the earbuds, on the bottom it has the USB-C input for charging. Both of these have the pairing button located on the side, and then both of these are using a single indicator light up front, and this just helps gauge how much battery life is on the case. But when you pop open the lid, the first thing you see is a shiny gold, because that is what the SoundPEATS logo is on the outside. This is where your touch controls are located. So it is going to pick up fingerprints. So if that's something that bothers you, make sure to keep a microfiber cloth so that you can wipe that off. And speaking of the touch controls, it sticks to the same thing that SoundPEATS does in pretty much every earbud they release. It gives you control over everything but the ability to go back to the previous track. I don't understand why they do this. It does work with an app, so maybe they can fix this or just add this to it. But as it is out of the box, you can play, pause, skip your tracks forward, but not go backwards. You can turn your volume up and down, and then you can also turn your noise canceling on or switch it over into your transparency mode. So it, again, is a little frustrating that you cannot go back to the previous track. Now, if you are going to use these for phone calls, they are using dual mics. They're also using environmental noise canceling so that it blocks out any sound around you while you're on a phone call. And I think they do a very good job here as well. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is a mic test using the Opera 05. I think it does a very good job of picking up my voice. I don't notice a whole lot of digital noise, but I do notice it adds a little bit of warmth. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound, because honestly, that is what both of these pairs are all about, and holy shit do they deliver. If you are a bass head, this definitely checks that box, because that 12mm driver is doing some incredible things with bass. And what I mean is it's giving you that looseness of having a subwoofer, but it also is retaining that tightness so that you can feel each individual hit of the drum. It's so impressive what the low end is able to do on these. It is definitely not holding back when it comes to the bass. Now, the mids and the treble on the 03 is very detailed. The vocalists are nice and up front, right in front of the instruments. So no matter what genre you're listening to, you're gonna be able to hear both male and female vocalists. very clearly. Same thing with the instruments. The treble is bringing out a lot of detail. It is a very nice and clean sounding earbud. And when you mix that with that thump in the low end, it's a dynamic curve altogether. This is where the O5 kind of just takes it another notch forward. It is bumping up the treble to have a nice bright sound. But it's also kind of pushing the mids slightly more forward, so there's a little bit better presence when it comes to vocalists and certain instruments. But the huge difference that I could tell is definitely in the treble. It has a nice sparkle to it in the O5, where the O3s still deliver a nice bright treble. The O5 is just, again, taking it that much further and giving you a sound that's kind of close to being harsh on the high end. Having it with that bass that it has, it just makes it a very dynamic sounding earbud. It is so fun to listen to, and I just left it in LDAC mode and I left it in the EQ that came out of the box. I never felt like I needed to change anything. Some people that don't like that overly bright treble might want to tone that down, but you could do that. And then when it comes to the soundstage and the sound imaging, both of these have a very spacious and open sound. Somehow, even delivering the low end that they're delivering, it still has a very good amount of space. It doesn't close you in or feel like two large speakers in front of you. And being able to tell where sounds are coming from, this pair has no issue with. So really, my overall opinion is this: if you don't mind waiting until March, I think it's an excellent value what you can get these at their early bird price. I still think they are more than worth it at their regular price, but do keep in mind, you are going to sacrifice having Qi wireless charging. There's no fast charging, or at least nothing that I've seen anywhere. And not being able to go back to the previous track, it is something that you're not going to have as well. So if you can look past those things and you are just, again, more focused on the audio, this is a pair that will not disappoint. But guys, that's my video on the SoundPEATS Opera O3 and the O5. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.